For the longest time, making more money meant one thing. You had to work more hours. Well, artificial intelligence has completely shattered that equation. In this explainer, we are going to break down how AI is creating a whole new kind of side business. One that doesn't just grow, it scales geometrically, going from $0 to $10,000 a month way faster than you might think.
And this visual right here, it really says it all. The old way was super simple. You put in twice the effort, you got twice the output. Double the work, double the pay. Simple. But with an AI hustle, doubling your output might just be a small change to a prompt or a tiny adjustment to a system. It's not just an improvement. We're talking about a completely different game. Think about it. Those traditional side hustles, like driving for Uber, taking on freelance clients, making things by hand, they were always limited by human bandwidth. There are only 24 hours in a day, right? AI just completely removes that ceiling. It can work while you sleep, it never gets tired, and its capacity is, for all intents and purposes, unlimited.
So this brings us to the new rules of scale. And listen, this isn't just about getting a machine to do your boring tasks. It's about totally redefining what leverage even means. Let's dig into the 3 pillars that allow one person to do what used to take an entire team.
First up, thinking of your knowledge as infrastructure. In the past, if you knew how to do something, you had to keep doing it yourself to get paid. But now you can encode that knowledge just one time into a really smart set of prompts, a workflow, an automated system, and that system basically becomes a tireless digital employee that executes your expertise over and over again. It's not just a skill anymore, it's a real asset.
Next up, and this is where the real magic happens, your output gets completely decoupled from your effort. A single person can now crank out hundreds of blog posts, manage these super complex marketing campaigns, or create dozens of videos. You're not trading your time for output anymore, you're just managing a system that creates the output for you.
And finally, let's talk about algorithmic distribution. Let's be honest, the new gatekeepers are the algorithms on platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Google. And what do they love? They love consistency, and they love volume. Well, AI is the perfect partner for this. It lets you publish every day instead of every week, test ideas at lightning speed, and basically turn going viral from a lottery ticket into a numbers game that you can actually win.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in practice?
Well, it turns out that almost every successful AI side hustle follows a pretty predictable 4-phase growth curve. It's basically a roadmap from that very first dollar all the way to a self-sustaining system. So the whole thing unfolds in 4 phases. First, there's validation, where you're just looking for a signal. Then you move to repeatability, where you systematize what actually works. Third is leverage. That's when AI really takes over. And finally, you hit momentum, where the system starts feeding itself. Let's break each one of these down.
Phase 1, validation, is all about getting proof that people actually want what you have. Honestly, this part is messy. You're testing out ideas, maybe even doing an AI-assisted service by hand at first. The only goal is to get anyone, to pay you. Because one paying customer is the ultimate signal that you've found a real problem to solve. Forget about being perfect, just focus on speed and getting feedback.
Now, once you have that signal, you enter phase 2, repeatability. This is where you stop doing all that custom, one-off work and you turn your service into a standardized package. You build out the templates, you create prompt libraries, which are just collections of specific instructions for the AI, and you make checklists to make the whole process predictable and remove all the guesswork.
This quote right here perfectly captures the huge mindset shift that happens as you move into the next phase. It's that moment when your thinking flips from being a service provider to being a system builder. This is the real transition from working in the business to working on the business.
And that question leads us directly into phase 3, leverage. At this point, your revenue curve officially breaks away from your effort curve. AI is handling most of the execution, while you're focused on the strategy and just optimizing the system. This is often where you might introduce a subscription model or turn your service into a digital product.
And finally, phase 4 is momentum. This is where things start to feel, kind of magical. Your content starts ranking in search engines on its own, referrals just show up organically, and new customers find you without you doing any direct outreach. The system is now feeding itself. It feels like it happened overnight, but it's the direct result of all that groundwork you laid in the first 3 phases.
So what kinds of businesses are actually pulling this off? Let's look at 4 proven models that are consistently scaling to $10,000 a month and even further.
First up, AI content machines. The big idea here isn't to write one perfect article, but to build a system, an engine, that produces a high volume of quality content. You can monetize this with ads, affiliate links, and even your own products.
The real power, though, is in the compounding traffic that just builds and builds over time.
Second, AI lead generation systems. Now this model is just brilliant because you're solving the #1 problem for pretty much every business out there: getting more customers. You build automated systems that capture and qualify leads, and because the results are so easy to measure, businesses are more than happy to pay a monthly retainer, which makes this model incredibly scalable.
Third, we have AI digital products. AI has caused the cost of creating things like courses, ebooks, and toolkits to absolutely plummet. You can turn your expertise into a sellable digital product almost overnight. And the best part, once it's built, the cost to deliver it is zero. That's pretty much pure profit.
And fourth, AI automation consulting. So many businesses are just drowning in manual, repetitive tasks. As a consultant, you don't need to invent some new AI from scratch. You just need to be smart about applying existing tools like Zapier or custom GPTs to solve really expensive problems. You're basically selling efficiency.
All right, let's wrap this all up with what might be the most important concept of all. Your real advantage in this new era, it's not your technical expertise. It's your mindset. It's how you approach problems.
You know, people get so hung up on the wrong things. They think they need to be a coder, but what really matters is being great at identifying a valuable problem. They jump from one new shiny AI tool to the next, when what's truly crucial is building a solid system. They aim for perfection, but the real winner is the one who can iterate the fastest.
This is exactly what makes an AI side hustle the ultimate asymmetric bet. The downside is incredibly low. We're talking maybe a few $100 for software and some of your time. But the upside, it's potentially life-changing. That kind of opportunity is exceptionally rare in the business world. Look, the proof is everywhere. These models are working for people every single day. The technology is here, the path is laid out. So the real question isn't about the tools anymore. It's a choice. How quickly are you going to start building your own leverage?